Let's flash back, ladies and gentlemen, to 2 months ago, September 26th. We have an Associated Press story here. The headline to the AP story on September 26th was, Obama mocks the GOP for crazy Obamacare predictions. The GOP, Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, everyone oriented in that direction were all predicting exactly this. And Obama mocked those predictions. And everything's come to pass. You know, folks, yesterday and 2 days ago and a month ago, 2 months ago, the plan that you liked but you had to get rid of because of the Obamacare law was substandard. That's why you had to get rid of it. It was substandard. It was placing your life at risk. You were just a disease away from bankruptcy or ruination. Notice now that you now get to keep your substandard plan. You get to keep your substandard policy. You get to keep what they were saying yesterday and the day before and last month was a horrible plan. You had to get rid of it. You had to cancel it because it did not work. Well, you liked it, nevertheless. So now what was deplorable and substandard and undoable all of a sudden has been reinstated. But note that while you have the option to go get your old plan, there's nothing about getting the same premium, was there? And that's because you're not going to be able to get the same premium. You see, there's a problem. The problem is there is something that is the law now, and it's Obamacare. And it has specific requirements vis-a-vis the insurance industry. And Obama willy-nilly is just cherry-picking elements that he wants to change while leaving other aspects of his law intact, which puts what he wants to do willy-nilly in total legal conflict with the other aspects of the law. And nobody is going to know how to reconcile those conflicts. What was done today was a purely political move designed to make you think that the president has dictatorial powers to your benefit. He has found out that you liked your plan, and so you're going to get to keep that plan. But again, yesterday, the day before, it was substandard because it didn't provide for birth control pills or other forms of contraception. It didn't provide the mandates that Obamacare requires your policy to have. So while on the one hand, those mandates and the requirements the insurance companies have to live by are still in place, Obama has just waved his magic dictator wand and said, hey, except for this, for another year, if you want. And if you like your plan now, you'll be able to keep it for another year. It's an absolute mess. This is, there's so much wrong with this. I mean, look, it's one thing to regulate, the government to regulate with tax policy or subsidizing a particular part of the economy like the home mortgage interest deduction. I mean, that's one thing. But to use the force of law to compel citizens to behave is against the U.S. Constitution. Now, if I understand the Chief Justice correctly, and I'm not sure I do, by the way, it must be really bad for Obama and the press corps because it took 10 minutes and they started asking about Iran. I mean, here's everybody waiting with bated breath for the president to answer questions of what he's going to do with health care. And 10 minutes in, they go to Iran and the nuclear program. Drive-bys bailing him out. It must be that the way he was answering their questions on his new policy change today are really upsetting, and they thought they needed to rescue him. As I understand it, Justice Roberts, if I understand him correct, Congress, I mean, what was the lesson of Obamacare? You couldn't just pass a law forcing people to buy health insurance unless it was a tax. Isn't that what Justice Roberts said? That's the way we got around the Commerce Clause restriction. The government cannot compel you to buy something. They just can't. And he did it again today. This is so anti-democratic, what is happening. And that's just the basic that people need to understand, if you can even trust what he's saying today. So if you can't be compelled to buy a product, that's when Chief Justice Roberts said, well, but if you call it a tax, then the government can do it. Okay. So now that we have Obama, and sadly maybe some Republicans, scrambling to make good on the president's promise, if you like your plan and your doctor, you can keep them, period. That means the insurance companies are going to be forced to offer specific policies that they were first forced to cancel. You weren't canceled. You didn't lose the policy you like simply because the insurance companies hate you and because the insurance companies want you to get sick and die, as many Democrats would like you to believe. The insurance companies canceled your plan because they had to. Obamacare was the law of the land, and your plan was canceled because it was substandard. It didn't comply with the law. The insurance companies were powerless. They had to cancel you in order to be in compliance with Obamacare, and they have spent years working out the details of this so as to both stay in business and stay in compliance. But something unexpected happened. The president lied to you and told you if you could keep your plan, if you liked it, you could keep it. Same thing with your doctor. But you couldn't. You were never going to be able to keep your plan. So people started complaining about it, so much so that the Democrats up for re-election in the Senate actually began talking about revolt. Even the 10 or 12 Democrats who had promised the same thing, just like Obama, if you like your plan, you get to keep it. I mean, they all lied to you, folks. All the Democrats lied to you about this in order to further this idea of government-run health care. So now, because the Democrat Party is in horrible electoral trouble, and remember, it was just a month ago that Ted Cruz and the Republicans were guaranteeing that the Republicans were going to lose the House. Just a month ago, Ted Cruz and the boys, they were embarrassing everybody. They were extremists. They were terrorists. They were hostage takers. They were demanding ransom. They were racist, sexist bigots. They were extremists. They were liars and all that. Everything they said was true. Now, in order for the Democrats to save themselves, the president has ordered the insurance companies to reinstate the plan that his law required them to cancel. So how does that work now? They're going to be in violation of the law. How does this square? There is a law. It's called Obamacare. They can't offer you the policy that was canceled by virtue of the law, except the president playing dictator has just waved his magic wand in fantasy land and told them they have to. So how do they do it? Are we going to call what they're doing a tax in order to make it constitutional? Again, your premiums are necessarily going to skyrocket if you go back to your old plan because they've just blown up the entire universe here with their website, healthcare.gov. It doesn't work. It's an absolute, total, obliterated mess. But all the chaos just fits right in with what the president's ultimate dream for all of this is. And that's the government in charge of everything. And the more chaos and the more distress, as long as they just want to get through the 2014 elections, that's all they want to do. And then, folks, it's over. Just get to the 2014 election, because it's the dream is the Democrats winning the House. That's what they've all got focused. Now they're even looking at possibly losing the Senate. That's how mad people are. It could be 2010 times 10. So I don't know how you save insurance contracts and elected politicians who perpetrated a massive fraud. But that's what they're trying to do. We'll get your phone calls in on this, and some interesting sound bites, too, as the program unfolds here on the Rush Limbaugh program. Be right back. Don't go away.